Hello, and welcome to a very special Cutie Crusaders extra video, where we're going to be talking with a special guest about a particular subject, but I'm not going to reveal that just yet. First of all, I'm going to introduce everybody who is here. So, my name is Rainbow Plasma, and I am joined today, first of all, by my co-host, Bernd.
Hello.
And our very special guest, a Mr. John Martin Wong.
Hey there.
So people might remember Martin from a previous episode that we did with him. I will leave a link up on the screen or in the description if you want to go check that out. But to kind of shorten that down so you don't have to watch an hour's worth of content, Martin is a former MLP animator for the show. He worked on seasons 1 and 2, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he worked on the show in the past, and so we had him on to interview him about a bunch of different things about season 1 and 2. And he recently messaged us. He sent us a message saying, hey, I saw a recent episode of My Little Pony, and I thought I might have an interesting perspective that I want to talk with you guys about. And we thought it was a great idea, so we thought we would have him on. So thank you for coming on, Martin.
A pleasure to be here.
So specifically, we're talking about, as of recording, last week's episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which was Season 5, Episode 20, Hearthbreakers, where we got to see more of Pinkie Pie's family. And so do you want to just remind everyone why that's kind of relevant for you coming on?
Well, I was the original animator for, I originally animated the scenes with the Pie sisters. And I was very attached to them. So when I got the news that they were gonna have an episode about them, it really sparked my interest.
Right, because back in season 1, there was an episode, Cutie Mark Chronicles, a very famous episode, where we got to see the backstory of all the main 6, including Pinkie Pie. And in that scene, we had a couple of cute little fillies, which were her sisters, and you animated all of those scenes when she was little?
Majority of the scenes, yes.
Okay. And so, yeah, I can understand how that might get you attached to them. And to see them come back after 4 years is quite a big deal.
Yeah, it's like seeing your nieces grow up. Your favorite nieces when they were kids, and you see them after 5 years, they're all grown up and quite different.
Right, and you're like, it's kind of like an unexpected thing, especially because, you have no part in kind of writing them. So in the same way that you have no part in telling your nieces.
Yeah, exactly.
Or telling your sister how she should raise them.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's there's a lot of really great parallels there. And you were told recently by some friends that you have currently who are working on the show that this was coming up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. One of my friends knew my attachment to them, and he was like, him and his coworker, him and his other friends messaged me like, hey, an episode of The Sisters will be coming up soon. You better watch it. Think of it. He also did it, so he wanted me to watch it and see what he's done. And I was like, oh man, I can't wait.
That's cool. So I guess where we should start with this, because we're going to talk about everything from, the individual sisters to the family to the episode in general. But let's just start with the episode in general and kind of what you thought of it, because this is kind of like, you're a parent watching your kids grow up. So what did you think of their kind of portrayal?
First off, the episode itself, between this, we had 2 heartwarming episodes, if I remember right. The one season 1 and this one. I think this one's the much better one in my opinion. So
you really enjoyed this episode then, it sounds like.
Oh yeah. I like it much better than the first one. This one really
Your
felt
opinions.
more family.
What about the singing? Martin.
How dare you have opinions?
The only problem I had with the second one is because I didn't buy the story. Like saying there's something strange about this story.
I mean, you can just botch the story as long as it just has like good musical overtones.
Wasn't there only one music in that part?
There was lots of music.
It's been 4 years since we've seen the episode, so our memories might be a bit hazy.
Oh wait, I'm not even thinking of the right episode. I'm thinking of Winter Wrap Up. Never mind.
No, you're not. You're not thinking of the right episode at all.
But yeah,
So
back
you enjoyed this one more than the last Heartswarming Eve one. I remember you were talking to me a little bit before how you kind of liked the moral and you could really relate with it.
it's very, a very sensitive topic, especially when it comes to tradition or people's values. It's something similar to that. Like we're all everyone especially in society nowadays where people think that one opinion should be the most it means that you're a good if you agree with this one opinion that the whole world agrees, you're a good person. But if you have a different opinion, you're labeled as either a bigot or someone who who's evil just because you have a different opinion from everyone else.
Right. Whereas this episode kind of showed more of like a two-sided perspective.
Yeah, because
for both families.
Yeah, in our views, Pinkie Pie's tradition seems, just weird. If Applejack is the most traditional way, but
right, it's the most similar to our own, so we would naturally side with Applejack. But we were kind of taught along with the Apple family that it's okay to have different traditions.
Yeah. There's reasons and context, which is like that scene when they were on the train and Granny Smith explained with like the writing on the window, which was very cute.
Yeah, when this is that to me was very speaks a lot in volumes to me. Is because especially with my family, we're very traditional based, and some people just don't understand it. And when upon looking at it, they're like they think we're just bigots or we don't. Because the world doesn't follow the same values, we're immediately labeled as evil or unenlightened
or just wrong. There's that sense of like right and wrong nowadays that we have that tends to get it's a bit like it goes to the extremes, right? Things are either right or wrong as opposed to being somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and that's what I take away from this episode. That's what I think that some people might have missed because they were all too distracted by the sisters. But to me, I think it's more to it than that. That's why I really love this episode for that, and I'm glad that it had to be with Pinkie's family.
But I mean, speaking of distractions, I was definitely distracted by the sisters because as you were mentioning, not only for you because you animated them originally, but I think everybody else has been kind of. The sisters, I think families in general of the main characters, we've always wanted to see more. And so when we get to see something that was teased 4 years ago in a flashback, when we get to see that explored a little bit more, that was really, really great. So we've got the rest of the family that I haven't seen before. I also want to get your opinion on Maud, but what was your... Out of the three sisters that we haven't talked to you about, Maud, Limestone, and Marble, let's start with your favorite. So which one do you like the characterization of the most?
This is difficult. I have to say I'm gonna go with Marble Pie.
Okay. So you're going with the answer that I think everybody's going to agree with you on, or at least the internet is.
Although I know people are giving Limestone a lot of flack because she seemed a bit, aggressive.
I'm gonna say right here, right now, I liked Limestone. She's a go-getter. I liked her.
Yeah, I think that to her she has the most. She was pretty cool, but I like Marvel just because she's. I like her design. When I first animated the scene, she was her design was really interesting to me because not only does she look like flat hair Pinkie Pie, but animating her character model was very fun to model. It was very fun to play with. And if you remember, I did her dance in the party. So yeah,
at the end.
Yeah, I did in Kingdom Hearts Chronicles, and it was really her. It was really great to see her in an adult form. That's
a quick question for you. In Kingdom Hearts Chronicles, did you animate that specific part when they walk in to see the party? And then, like, the whole family, like, mother, father, the two sisters, like, they start freaking out and, like, their mouths start, like, wiggling and they're, like, look like they're just gonna break?
Yes, I did that entire scene.
That was so good. Yeah. Like, that was awesome. Like, the camera tilt to, like, just them, like, decompressing. And then, like, party. Like, it was good stuff. And the big smile, keyframe for the smile, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you were mentioning, her Marvel's dance was the one where she was swinging around with her father, and then she stood up on two legs and did this weird like back and forth thing.
I think I was listening to dubstep that time or something or something. I was like, or dance music. I was like, and then I'm just like,
That's great. That's good. So I guess from the sounds of it, they gave you freedom with like, yeah, just make them dance.
yeah, because sometimes the storyboard doesn't tell you exactly what they're doing. It's just like, oh, they're swinging their arms around. I said, okay, let's see. I think I can think of a good dance move. let's call it. Well, at the time, let's call her Sister's Jig or something. Let's do
Right. Right.
In the future, if you ever have an anime job and you're looking for dances, consider Gundam Style.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if
that wasn't out yet.
Yeah,
Burns.
yeah, it wasn't out.
That was 2012.
Yeah, we're talking about the future here. Come on.
I see. So you were mentioning that you liked her design the most, and I think that really resonates with me because I like her design. I like her new design, like her grown-up design, the most out of all of the sisters for sure. So what did you think about her kind of aged up design? Did you enjoy it just as much?
Oh yeah. I mean, I always imagine she didn't change much from her first season one, unlike Limestone, who had that wicked haircut from behind her. But
Right.
she's the only I love her design. She's her hair covers her face, and from the other side, and stuff. Yeah,
It's just this big flat thing that covers her entire face, right? Like, because we always see the characters that have characters like Fluttershy that their hair kind of covers their face. Sometimes we see it from the one side, and then they flip around.
It's still on the other side,
and you can still see them.
Yeah.
But when Marble flips, it's like her entire face is gone.
Yeah. I love it. It's like she's a Pony Sadako or whatever
Right.
from the ring.
She's really hiding. She's really hiding from it. So
yeah, I love it. She reminds me of Violet from what's that? The Incredibles, and she looks great. I like
right.
her.
And personality wise, was this kind of obviously it's very difficult when you're animating that season 1 episode to really gauge what her personality might be. You can make guesses, but was it something that you were satisfied with that ended up coming out, her kind of ultra shy attitude?
I know I may sound, but I was clearly on point when I told this to my coworker that I feel like she's the shy one, and then 5 years down the line, I say yes, I knew it. I was right. I saw the future and I knew it.
Right. You can see a little bit of her character, when you look back on the old episodes, her hair does start to come down over her eyes compared to her sisters, right? Like there's something there. Well, that's really cool.
We see that characteristic in characters we already really know, like say Fluttershy.
Right. It's a very common thing amongst ponies that we've seen where if they're shy, they'll hide their faces with their hair.
And lots of other like animations and movies, cartoons.
People do that. So.
I mean, I just wish that she had much more speaking lines. I was actually hoping that we get to hear more of her voice, but then again, I think that the reason they did that is because she was supposed to be the archetype to Big Mac.
Yeah, to reflect him.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She was the female pie version of Big Mac.
Yeah.
Because she had her own kind of catchphrases
and
as well.
I appreciated that dynamic where like she didn't really do this one like talking, and then like there was that scene where Pinkie Pie was talking for her, and Applejack was like, "Oh, you must do all the talking," and so like she does that. She's done that for Big Mac in the past. So that little dynamic of saying like and yep, like that was a cute thing. And I always like when cartoons do that. I feel like people attach to the characters that don't speak much,
It's funny how we got so much connection between those two, just saying 2 words, and yep.
Yeah, it was a very cute scene. There's a lot of blushing in this episode too.
There's a lot of blushing. The shippers go crazy. So
it has already. The ship has already sailed.
Oh yeah, no, it has. It's on its way for America, or India rather.
Yeah.
So moving on, let's talk about the sister that Byrne liked apparently, which was Limestone, who was quite another extreme. A theme amongst Pie sisters is that they're all extremes, right? So Pinkie Pie is extreme happy, Marble is extreme shy, Maud is extremely not extreme in any way, except when she's breaking rocks. And then you have Limestone, which is extreme
aggressive.
Well, it depending on which word you use, it's like positive or negative. She was very, I would use the word aggressive as well. She was extremely aggressive. So
abrasive
what were your thoughts on
I think
Limestone?
like aggressive, abrasive.
Sure.
I want to hear Burns. Like, why do you think she's the best?
All right, because one, we in My Little Pony especially, we lack that kind of like overly abrasive, aggressive, like positive characters, like characters who are, say, like the good guys, or just like another like role in the cast, or in this case like part of Pinkie Pie's family. If there's like an abrasive character, it's like Diamond Tiara, well, quote unquote, was Diamond Tiara, right? Where like she was always just like a total choice of horse words, and then you just like, and then but that was it. It was always in the negative view. And so this is a character who's part of the family, and like, yeah, she's always kind of saying like the mean thing, but it's always also just like the straightforward thing. And then at the end there, she was like, all right, get your butts over here and help us push this rock. But he's like, don't you forget I'm the boss. And it's like, I don't know. I like that dynamic, one, because it was different, and two, just because I think it's a fun character thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think
that's very
the only other character that does that is Rainbow Dash. She's very abrasive, but in a good way, which is funny because I think that might be what draws you to Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, but it's a different kind, because a Rainbow Dash isn't aggressive about it, right? Where she's not like verbally kind of like bossy or bullyish. Like Rainbow Dash can be very like direct, but it's also just because like sometimes she just doesn't realize it, because
Well, Limestone's like in your face. Like, did you see that thing she did with Apple Bloom? Like, I'm in charge of this.
Yeah, she's like, I am the dominant one, and I want you to know it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So what were your thoughts, Martin? Was that something that you saw coming, or like you mentioned with Marble, you kind of saw her coming, but this one?
No, I didn't see this one coming. It was like meeting my niece after 5 years. Like 5 years ago, she's like, "Oh, look at her, so full of life and so much positive future,
so
and then,
innocent."
yeah. And then
now it's like, whoa,
what happened?
Way to hit the puberty train.
It's actually in real life. I do have a niece that's like that, and I'm like, say, what happened? You were so full of innocence and life.
Yeah.
What happened to you?
What did my sister do to you?
Yeah. That's funny. Well, she was an interesting character. I guess I kind of align with Bernd a little bit, where I don't always look at this and go, it's a bad thing if there's characters who are abrasive. It gives a variety to the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought her little thing with Holder's Boulder was really funny, and it was a nice reoccurring joke. So
I think they made her like that to add an antagonistic element into the episode.
Yeah,
they didn't need to, but then again, it was a good dynamic for the family.
Yeah,
actually.
Absolutely. It definitely put like Pinkie Pie's side of the family in like an almost like villain type of like looking at mindset, just because like she was kind of saying like the antagonizing things, and so it magnetized the two sides, right? Applejack's family and their family, when like they were starting to have their like when it was starting to like their butt heads,
Yeah, I like that. I like the part where Apple Bloom was saying, "I really like Maud," and then she just comes. They're all sweet.
He looks at her. Get out. Get out right now.
I want you out. My friend animated that scene, by the way.
That was really funny.
Yeah, he was. But Limestone, yeah, I love her. I love her too. I mean, that's why I had to say it was a hard question, because at the same time, I want. Marble was great, but I also thought Limestone was also an awesome addition to the family, because the way they did her was just that, just like what Byrne said. It's like not all ponies have to be all positive or good.
Happy-go-lucky and pastel.
Yeah, exactly. Like some could still be aggressive or abrasive, but still they're still good. It's just that they just have a different take on things, and that's exactly what I like about her.
Yeah, and one last note on Limestone, I really liked her eye line, her like eye I don't know how to
Yeah.
put it, but like the line, it was almost like her eyebrows, but it's not quite her brows, where they were very like sharp and like bold going out to the side.
Oh yeah.
They're great.
Her eyes were always like furrowed, always down, so like
Yeah.
the top of her eyes always kind of had that eyebrow like conjoined with it, because ponies, you see their eyebrow like goes above their face and then will join into their eye and like kind of play like that back and forth. And so Marble, Limestone, and Maud had very similar eyes in like kind of how they're constructed with the eyelashes. But Marble always was like had the shy look, and her eyes were tilted the opposite angle of Limestone's, if you noticed. And so like that was a really cute like little style choice. But you could look that they were like custom modeled too. They were kind of like the eyelashes and then the tops of the eyes didn't match up. And my vector artist was like flaring.
They were all very unique. They're for sure.
I heard from my friend, since he animated most of Limestone's scenes, that was intentional. The sharpness of her eyebrow was intentional. This was
it makes sense.
It was to emphasize what she's like, and I'm like saying, "Wow, that's a pretty good."
She's sharp too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like
I wasn't commenting on the like the sharpness of it. It was the eyelash, like how it matches up with the eyebrow. You can notice that as it moves, it becomes disconnected. So I tell him I'm critiquing his work, and he's a better job with eyelashes.
But yeah.
So we wanted to touch briefly a little bit on Maud, because I don't think we got to talk too much about Maud with you when we interviewed with you. So, we're on the subject of the sisters. We have this third sister that wasn't around in terms of canon when you animated the original two sisters. And then she kind of got like retconned in there. So like what's your opinion of that, and what's kind of your opinion of her?
To be fair, Maud falls into the trope of the expressionless trope. She's there are characters like her in some shows, no doubt. But she's fine. I like her. She's a pretty interesting character, and her episode was pretty good. I liked it. As for the character herself in Pinky's family, I think they added her in. I think Hasbro added her in just because they were afraid what the fandom would think if they would have added, they used one of the other sisters, because we all know how the fandom could get if it didn't follow their, their headcanon.
Right.
The reason why Vinyl Scratch isn't voiced is because everyone will throw a hissy fit if it's not
if she doesn't sound right.
If she doesn't sound like who's that person who
Noacking.
Yeah, there she is. Her.
Right.
So I guess they also made Mod Pie just to be safe, so that they don't ruin anyone's headcanons.
We've definitely seen what type of fits people can throw over voices.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Derpy. So. But obviously that mentality has changed because then they did this episode.
Yeah. The fact that they did this means that they were willing to go a little, take the risk, because everyone really as much as people have their own version of what the sisters are like, they all want to. Let's be honest, they all want to see what they were like. They want to see.
Everybody wants the canon version.
Yes,
there's a power to the canon.
But there also wasn't a strong like fan version of these said characters, right? Like no one's gone out of their way and like voiced them and like attached like a lot of love for them. They've just kind of been these characters. So
I feel like compared to other characters, absolutely, these ones didn't have quite as much fandom fervor over them.
Like we just talking about like a brony collective, like really went out of our way to like make Derpy and Vinyl Scratch like our own, so to speak. I'm doing air quotes. But like Maud didn't exist. Excuse me. Marble and Limestone didn't really have that type of like I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't have they didn't have a strong following, which is why they were. I guess Hasbro was either Hasbro or DHX or whoever's writing the episodes had plans for them in the future. I like to think.
Yeah.
So they needed to introduce them sooner or later. So
I also like to think or hope that they don't like take our like negative reactions too seriously when trying to write characters in episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you don't want them to. You want them to take the risks because then you get the best rewards.
I want them to.
Right?
Yeah, I want them to like make a good show and do what they feel is like the best for the show, and not what they feel like is the best for the fandom.
For the kind of people who are go crazy. Yeah. Well, you know, like I said, if you take the risks, you get the rewards, and I think this episode was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, but you know we're never gonna see that vinyl scratch episode.
Damn it.
I'm fine with it. They dealt with it fine.
I could pretty much die happy after episode 100.
It's true. It's true. It was
10
good.
seconds. Did that really make you happy, Martin? Tell me about that. I want to know what you thought about that episode.
Oh, you mean the
Episode 100.
the slice of life, the slice of life one?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
All right, there you go. You heard it here.
I was like, oh my gosh, they really went for it. They really went for it.
I did get people who sent us messages specifically being like, "See, her eyes are purple," and it was like, "All right, fine, they're purple. They weren't supposed to be."
It's because I like to think that because the model is not exactly is a model that we usually use, so that's why they animators forget to change the eyes, and since the animators are not the season 1 animators, they don't know any better.
They don't know the truth.
Yeah, they don't know the truth. Those young Oh, never mind. I'll keep my opinions to myself.
Yeah. Darn my friends who are still working on the show.
I should tell them you're supposed to ring them in. What the hell? What the hell's your problem, people? But yeah, I really loved episode 100/5.
Awesome. Good to hear.
So, I guess, you know, that's Maud. Let's talk a little bit about Pinky's parents. Byrne brought up a great point, which is that they had organ music, this heavy religious tone to them.
That was my favorite
which I think
part.
you could see coming.
They're clearly Amish. They're clearly Amish.
Because like that's that huge like character, like how do you put it? Character creation or style that was about them is like they definitely had like strong Amish overtones with like the sideburns of like the father and like his little Amish hat and the mother wearing her like little
those glasses,
glasses and other things.
I do,
but yeah, I loved that whenever they talked, it just like church pipe organs came on in the background.
I did mention this once before. Like, why is the Pie their last name? It clearly has nothing to do with rocks.
That's a question that not even the animator can answer, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like
we don't know.
I agreed with you with this one, Rainbow. It's that they created the character first, and the backstory was just put in for funsies, and now we're at this point where, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. But
yeah.
But
well, it happens. It's tolerable.
Yeah, I did like their interaction with Granny Smith. I felt like it was really genuine. It's really good. I really liked
it. I was surprised because like Granny Smith went all like, "You got any handsome stallions?" And I expected them to be like,
offended or something.
"Oh, I can't believe you'd say that." But they kind of were like, "Oh ho ho, that's funny."
Or the fact that she said.
Mention?
Or the fact that they were like, she was like, "You guys have some funny way of talking."
Yeah. Well, and then it was really cute at the end when they both made efforts to talk like each other.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really good. I love it. I love their interaction. It shows that Granny Smith is not it's not so close-minded. She's actually open-minded to them.
Yeah. Both of the families. Both of the families is really interesting. Both the families, which would seem like, when we're talking about traditions, you often put that together with closed-mindedness, especially depending on which traditions you're familiar with, because sometimes those things can go hand in hand. But they showed two different traditional families, both an Amish-influenced one and a country-influenced one, two that are not often seen to be very flexible within their traditions.
Exactly.
But they showed them in a very positive light, in a very open-minded light, and I thought that was really awesome.
Not to mention that it's the elder one that was the most open to them, because usually it's the old ones who are so locked,
stuck in their ways.
Yes, exactly. So stuck into traditions and stuff. So
yeah.
it's interesting. Go ahead, Bert.
I was gonna say that's always what they teach you too. Like, behave around grandma. Like, don't misbehave in front of grandma. Don't do this. Don't put your elbows on the table.
Are we digging up personal memories for you, Bert?
Well,
It's oddly specific.
the point that I was trying to make was more like the episode did a really good job of portraying like a positive way to interact with like values and tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And it also portrayed people who would be like the elders are the ones who really like harbor those traditions, also being open-minded ones as well, like Granny Smith and the parents. And so like it's difficult because I feel like you'd be hard pressed to find something like that in modern society, especially when you look at like older generations. But maybe it's because I'm biased because I'm part of like a younger generation or something like that.
It's probably that.
But like even like for kids like viewing this like as a moral, I felt like it was a really good one and a strong one to like always be open to what other people believe, and then like ways of interacting with that, and like it showed the parents doing, right? And so like kids are always more prone to follow something if they see their elders doing that, right?
Absolutely.
To, like, reciprocate and copy them.
It's
Absolutely.
strange to see that Applejack's the one who's the close-minded one.
Yeah.
All of them.
So yeah, that was basically everything when you view all the episodes together. When we talked about the sisters, that's kind of everything surrounding the episode, other than something that Byrne brought up after watching the episode, which was the kind of cameo that we're just going to throw in here because we didn't mention it during our spoiler cast. But Byrne, you noticed two particular ponies on the train, right?
Yeah. So I hadn't watched the episode actually when we were going to record this. So I was like, oh, hold on. And I watched it really quick. And in my quick watching of this, in the very first train scene, when we entered like the shot of like the establishing shot of the inside of the train with the Apple family and Pinkie Pie, there was two characters off to the top left, and I was like, those characters stand out. Like, they're very clearly wearing outfits, and they were interacting in a funny way, because I'll put a little screenshot, or I'll give you a screenshot to put on the screen, but the two characters were like, one had his arm around the other, and he's like, hey, like talking to him, and the other guy looked really like disgruntled and like worried about it. And then like Applejack or Pinkie Pie said something, and then they stopped and like looked over, and the scene transitioned. So I was like, these characters really stood out. Like, there's got to be a purpose to them, but I didn't know what it was. And so I linked them to you, and you were like, oh, I got it. That is from the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So who are those two actors again?
Steve Martin and John Candy.
Yeah.
I believe it was a 1990s movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And that was my first instinct. I didn't, and then we went up and looked it up, and that's exactly what those
like it is
are.
without mistake. Like their outfits are like
exactly
completely key on par, like identical.
Even their
like a mustache. Yeah.
Even their cutie marks. Like, didn't you just say that John Candy was a... What was he?
John Candy was a shower curtain ring salesman. He sold shower curtain rings. So his cutie mark is a shower, and you can see the rings very prominently.
I love things like that in episodes. Like, so good, little crossovers and stuff.
I like. It's also funny that it's also a Christmas. Wasn't it a Christmas movie? If I remember right.
It was absolutely a Christmas movie. They were trying to get home for Christmas.
That's why it was so good. Like Heartwarming Eve, Christmas episode, like Christmas themed movie, like crossover show, like kind of put in there. Like
it was perfect.
Mind blown.
Yeah,
so good.
No, it was great. Whoever did that, like I guess that would be up to the animators, right, Martin? To put that kind of thing in.
It could be, but I think it was done by DHX. I feel like it was done DHX because I've seen the models and they're very well detailed. No one's got time to do that unless they were working on unless they were preparing the scene. So I'm guessing it was DHX that did it. So.
Oh, okay. So there was some like perhaps storyboard influence on that as well.
Yeah.
Well, whoever did it, it's a great.
If there's
reference.
like little like crossovers and stuff, like I suppose the animation team can do that now and then, but usually it's the storyboard artist kind of like works something in there, and then the director's like, all right, let's put that in there. Like we were talking to Sibsy, usually she was like, I want to put this cute little thing in there, and she's like, yes, it got past DHX, we can do it.
Well, and then they obviously must have Googled planes, trains, and automobiles to get like the clothing.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Steve Lubowski reference. And
right.
I mean, I'm sure DHX had something to do with it more so than the actual animation team. So, yeah, I think it was a storyboard thing, which is what I think was this one also is a storyboard thing.
Totally.
Cool.
I mean, I doubt even my fellow animators know what the movie is.
It's a great movie. It's a classic. It's great. Okay, so we're gonna be wrapping up here. We're just over 35 minutes here, so that should be plenty of time.
Oh, I do have a question though.
Sure.
What do you think of the pairing of Marble Mac?
Oh, you're asking us specifically the shipping
Yes,
question?
exactly. Because the moment I saw that happen, the first thing I said to my friend was, "Aren't they related?" Like.
Okay. Okay. So here's the deal. I'm gonna take this one, Burned, and I'm just gonna say. So here's the deal. I'm supportive of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very cute. I really like Marble as a character. I wasn't expecting to like Marble so much, but I think she's a really, really cute character. And like sometimes shy characters like Fluttershy, they're not really cute to me in their tendencies. But I thought her character, her tendencies, her voice, they were all very, very cute, and it hit that kind of like perfect, adorable shy spot for me. And so I really like the character. I think the ship was very cute. But people have been saying, they're related. Right?
Yeah,
We don't
And
know that.
I'd like to bring up two things. First of all, they might be related.
Yeah, I like how they emphasize that the whole time.
Might.
Yeah. So might.
That makes
and
this
second
okay.
of all, even if they are related, I believe if you go back to the Pinky Apple Pie episode, it says even if they are related, they're like 7th or 8th cousins removed.
Quite distant.
And like that's huge.
Quite the distance.
Like that's by that point, you're not related, basically. Like you are as related as a random stranger on the street.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're at least 4 to 5 cousins away from being legal in the U.S. So
Yeah. So like it's, to me, there's no guarantee they're related, and even if they are, it's by such a wide margin that it's completely irrelevant.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
But
yep.
But it's cute. I love it. I love the ship. It's great.
yeah, I'm fully supported with the ship. I just
I'm on board.
I just told my friend, probably that's why they kept emphasizing we may or may not be related the whole time.
Just for the shippers.
Yeah,
Just for the
exactly.
shippers.
But yeah, I'm full support. But it'll be awkward. Like, so how did you meet your wife? I met.
Well,
We met
You
in
see
a-
at this
At a
family,
family reunion.
Exactly. But yeah, I love shit, and I hope they there will be a future episode about
Go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it. All right. Burned, what did you think? Did you like the ship?
Oh, yeah. I'm really partial to the Cheerly ship with Applejack.
I see.
Big Mac. I
Big
mean,
Mac.
I've gotten so used to it. Like,
Fair enough.
I don't know,
They had an episode about it, so there's
yeah,
some
like, is that
chemistry
still
there.
a thing? Like, it's got to be still a thing, right? Like,
I mean,
like,
I'm sure there were some. If I remember, there are some scenes where they're walking together in some cases.
Yeah,
Look, you
totally.
can't hold down Big Mac with just one girl, right? Like
He is Big Mac.
He's not a
He's too
single
much-
mare kind of guy.
No, he's not. He's not. We'll have to ask Peter New about that. See what his favorite ship is.
Peter New, how many mares can you handle?
I know there's that Fluttershy.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
That thing, but I don't remember them interacting or something.
No, I think that was more of a fandom creation.
Because they put Big Mac with a shy character, right? And so
Because they're both shy.
that being said, like, I think Marble is a way better ship than Fluttershy.
Well, yeah, that's
Totes
so
my
true.
goats.
That's true. That's very true.
I agree.
And besides, they're not going to take that risk. You really think that DH is going to take that risk and pair the main 6 with someone? I mean,
Exactly.
can you imagine the backlash?
I don't know, man. They're doing a baby. Who knows? Maybe next season we'll see someone dating someone. Who knows? Sky's the limit.
Direct Flutter Mac shippers.
All right. Well, that is basically everything from us. Unless you had anything else, Martin, that you wanted to talk about in this episode.
Besides, it was great. No, and I think that's all.
Cool. Yeah, well, hopefully you guys out there enjoyed hearing a different perspective. I know it was awesome to hear you come on and give your perspective on these characters, because you're kind of the animator father of them. So that it's a very cool to hear kind of your stories from the past and season 1 and how things have changed in the future. So thank you so much for coming on and doing this kind of special with us.
It's great. It was great to be here. I mean, I feel like the animator uncle more than the father, but yeah.
Nah,
yeah, it
you're
was-
basically just John Martin Pie.
Change your name, man. Change your name. That's great. That's great. All right. Well, that is everything from us. I'm just going to do a couple of plugs here. You know, this is an extra episode, so if you're seeing this and you aren't aware of what we do a show every single week where we talk about My Little Pony art. And so you can check it out on our YouTube channel, which you're on right now if you're watching this. And yeah, if you enjoy it, then you can come and watch. We also have an interview, as I mentioned at the beginning. We have an hour-long interview with Martin, where we talk about his past, not just specifically about the Pie Sisters, but we talk about Derpy, we talk about vinyl, and we talk about the animation and process in general. So if you're interested in that, the link will be in the description, and it'll also be on the screen, so you can click right through to that. And without further ado, I guess that is everything. So, thank you guys for watching. And we will see you guys for another episode of Cutie Crusaders later this week. Without further ado, my name is Rainbow Plasma.
My name's Byrne.
I'm John Martin.
And we'll see you guys later. Bye.